Hi, I'm Sarah,
And I'm Amanda.
and this is I'm Your Mother Now podcast episode.
5.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Here we are.
Let's do it. Here we are. Friday again. So we're kicking it off with a very topical topic. And I will say, Amanda, are you like a Swiftie?
I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't dislike Taylor Swift. I like her music. I just feel like the level of fandom is that's the baseline isn't quite where I am, generally speaking.
In life.
But I appreciate it because I think that it's good to get excited about things. You should have things that you like.
I mean, in this current world, anything that sparks you a little bit of joy, we're not going to hate you for it. Like,
Yeah,
go
literally.
get
So
it.
Sarah, the big question is, what do you and Travis Kelsey have in common? Which is actually funny. I figured it out, but I'm gonna let you tell the story.
You didn't figure it out. What are you talking about? I had to tell you the
I
story.
I understand that you told me, but when I saw the post that was like, what does Sarah and Travis Kelsey have in common? I was like, I can't wait to find out. But then I realized I knew. So
You're wild.
alas.
Okay, so I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
So, obviously, unless you've been under a rock, which you know what, if you hadn't heard about this, bless, right? But Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift like got engaged, and all the Swifties are very excited. And like we were just saying, bless, like we love, love, enjoy, like whatever. Okay. Um,
Absolutely.
so I a couple months ago. So I'm going to backtrack so you kind of understand where this is going. A couple months ago, so I have my old wedding ring. Okay, it's been sitting in my drawer in a little envelope, and it is admittedly a monster kind of ring, right? So it's
It's and it's
like
not just your wedding ring, it's your wedding ring and your engagement ring, right? So your wedding band
oh,
and your
sorry.
engagement
Okay,
ring.
yes,
Um, and they are both equally
intense.
intense, yeah.
They're intense. They're intense. They're so intense that I'm like, I don't know that I feel right selling this because like what would that mean? Like I don't know. I've been sitting on it for a while and just not
Yeah.
sure what to do with this ring that I somehow managed to procure in this lifetime. So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna find a jeweler to take the diamonds and make them into a really cool right hand ring, right?
Yeah,
Something
as you
that's like,
should.
yeah, just like alchemize it into something new, which is what like that whole situation is for me, right? Like everything
Right.
is being alchemized into its new form. So like,
Mm-hmm.
why not this, right? So
Exactly.
a couple months ago, this is probably like June, right? I got on Instagram and I already follow some whimsical jewelers, but I'm like, let me look for some more whimsical jewelers. So I'm Googling whimsical jewelers. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I literally wrote like whimsical jewelers, fairies.
Yes.
And I found this like really quirky girl out of New York City, and I loved her stuff. It looks very like Lord of the Rings inspired, right? And I said, you know what? When I looked at her website, she had a couple ready to wear pieces, and they weren't so prohibitively expensive that I thought this would be something I can't do, you know?
Right.
Um, so I looked to see like how you contact them. They had an email. So I sent an info request like, hey, like I'm trying to get this done, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. So fast forward to all this news of Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift. And there is an article showing her ring and saying who the designer is. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because it's the whimsical jeweler I found and tried to commission to turn my engagement ring and wedding band into something new. And I just couldn't believe it. And I was like, now this bitch is never going to get back to me.
Never, never. The
Never.
whimsical jeweler that you will never get to know.
Never get to know. Like, because there's no way. Like,
Well,
there's no, I mean, well, you know what?
actually,
Mm,
I think we
mm,
don't like to say that around
I don't,
here.
I
Ooh,
think, ooh, I don't love the vibes I just threw off. Hmm.
ooh.
I
Aren't
need
we
to
gonna
sit with
be in New York
myself.
City in a couple of months? Maybe we might run into someone.
Ooh, okay. Listen, I'm
Mm-hmm.
picking up what you're putting down and I'm self-correcting as I go.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
when said whimsical jeweler reaches out to me, I will be like, congratulations on the major boost to your business that's happened, but don't let it reflect the price. Don't let it reflect the price of mine.
Yeah, the way that you just said that is how Siri hears all of my talk to text.
I turned into a sim.
Speaking of being an NPC,
I know. Well, and I just like only had like 2.5. Have you had your coffee yet?
my coffee. I committed to not drinking my coffee during this because I was like, I need to stop getting all of my beverages. But so no, I haven't. But I will. I'll get my sips
Okay.
because
Is it
I
okay that
need
I'm
it.
drinking it? Like,
No, it doesn't. It's what? It's not about you. It's about me, right? It's always
oh,
like
yeah, it's about how
you're
you think about
perfect,
things.
and I'm just like fumbling over myself over
Oh
here.
my God, should we like dive into that today? Like, what's wrong with you?
Nothing's wrong with me. I'm
That's what I
perfect.
that's what I say when people sit down in therapy. They like I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's a good icebreaker, you know?
And it's like, oh my God, what's right with me?
It's like
Oh
nice
my
to meet you.
God.
Like, what the fuck is your problem?
Um, Speaking of, and before we move on from engagement weeks, I don't want to forget to tell this quick story.
Yeah.
So when I got engaged, you will recall the year was 2016. I'll say like the end
Yep,
of
adult.
2016.
2000.
Yeah, my
Wait,
lord.
wait, why do you think you got engaged in 2016?
Um, because I'm pretty sure that was the year.
Oh, okay. I thought you got
Wait,
married in.
do you
Didn't
know
you get
something that
married?
I don't know?
Didn't you get married in 2016?
We got married in 2017. We got married a year after we got engaged in
All right.
December.
Proceed with your own story about your own life.
Okay, and you can continue thinking about that timeline if you'd like. So we were on a trip to India, okay,
As one
at
does.
the end of the year because we were going for a wedding, as one does, and then we were going to go see like the Taj Mahal and everything, right? So like
Mhm.
in true Ryan fashion, he was like walking up to our apartment the day before our flight, like holding this box that he had to pick up from FedEx because he had missed the pickup to sign, right? So he's holding this box. And I was like, can you imagine if this man is like going to propose or something on this trip? And then I don't know if you remember, but I asked you, I texted you, and I was like, if Ryan was going to propose, we were on our way to the airport. If Ryan was going to propose, do you think that he would tell you? And then you just didn't respond to me for like 4 hours. I think you were hoping that I would get on the plane and just not have international service anymore. And then you could
Yes.
blame it on that.
Yes. Correct.
Anyhow, so Ryan carries this ring with him through the first week of travel in India, right? And then he's actually going to propose to me at the Taj Mahal when we're there on our tour. And he put the ring, right? Like the ring in his, the tiny pocket that guys have in their jeans.
He
He
put
put
it
it
just
in there. And we like legit went and like went on a tour of like we went through everything and he had it in that tiny pocket.
I'm sure he was acting totally normal and not weird at all.
Honestly, he was acting more normal than he should have been in that moment. I mean, he was very thrown off because he had a plan, and the plan included like one of those like small tripods that he was going to just set up, and then he was going to pretend he was taking a picture and propose. And as soon as we got to like the security part, they were like, no tripods. And our tour guide was like, no problem, I'll run it back to the car. And Ryan was like, I don't. Anyhow, that's just my crazy ring story because out of the whole thing, I can't believe that he then put it in that tiny pocket in his jeans.
I can.
Oh gosh. Anyhow,
I
so
can completely believe that.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just remembering why I don't wear AirPods, because my
Are
ear
they?
rejects them.
Are they? Is it like I just had this conversation with someone about AirPods and how they're like for special ears, and they
Yeah.
just happen to be for my ears.
Yeah, well, they're not
Anyhow,
for mine, but this
hang in there,
year,
Sarah. You got this.
yep, I'm going to remain professional. I took out this one because you know what ends up happening. Well, you're going to know what ends up happening is I have both of them in and I keep shoving this one in. And there's some sort of mechanism that is triggered when you do that. And it often like turns off my phone call or whatever. You know what I mean?
So, sis number one has left the chat. It's just me. I'm just kidding. You're still here. Don't worry.
Amanda.
I'm sorry. I was just making
Oh.
a joke. You were looking at me like, oh my God, I'm gone.
How am I still talking to you? Oh my God.
Oh my God. All right.
All
Whatever.
right, well, lock in, bitches, because we
I'm
have some
locked
things to
in.
talk about today.
We sure do.
And this, this is topical to our lives. No, just okay. All right, so this week, I don't know if I said this on the cast already, the pod already, but I am in a imposter syndrome workshop at work.
Yes.
Did I already talk about that?
We did. Yeah. Well, we just talked about how you were in it. We didn't dive too much into it.
Okay. So at work, there's an imposter syndrome workshop for the therapist. It's an opt-in. You don't have to be in it. I don't actually have imposter syndrome at this time in my life. However, I do want to get to know my fellow therapists better. And like, this is a paid hour. So like, why wouldn't I be there? Like, I feel like I want to get to know people. Right. So, and it's going to help me with other things. So I'm not, not a bad thing to learn. Right. So anyway, it is interesting each week because we go through these different topics. And the question that was asked this week was around expectations from your parents and what those expectations were and how they affect you, right?
Yeah.
And most of the people in my workshop are a lot younger than me. Like we have like early 20s to like early 30s, and I think that's where we part ways, right? So I'm just like older than everybody else, even though I look like this, right? So so we were talking about that, and I was reflecting on the idea of expectations because, as you know, I've been digging through the archives of my life via my journals.
Yeah.
And back in 2003, which would have been would have been college, but actually my first year of college, I was clearly having a total crash out at college. Was like not doing well based off of the
as one does.
Yeah, literally. I was really being angsty. But on one of the pages, I wrote, "Mom and Dad, what do you want from me? Like, what do you want me to be? What do you want me to become?" And as I looked at those words, like that I wrote from so long ago, like reaching back in time, oh Sarah, I realized like I know exactly what that feels like because I hadn't thought about it in a while, but I know what I was feeling. I was feeling like I don't know who I am and I don't know what is expected of me. All I know is I don't feel okay and I don't have anyone to reach out to talk to about this and get any sort of guidance. I'm like flailing, right?
Yeah.
And so I said in imposter syndrome workshop, like, what if you don't have any expectations that are clearly explained to you from your family? What if all you get is just to exist, fumble around, and then you kind of get hip checked passive aggressively to kind of keep you on some sort of quote unquote course, but you don't know what the course is, right?
Right.
And what I was interested to know is I know how that felt for me. And since we are almost 4 years apart, you had different parents than I did too. Like your experience of our parents was totally different. But I remember for me, what Dad would always do is if I had some, and he still actually, they all still do this to me. This is kind of like everyone's favorite thing to do to me because I get fucking excited about stuff. You know what I mean? And if I was excited to share an accomplishment or something that I found really awesome with Dad, I'd be like, "Wow, Dad!" Blah, blah, blah. And he would be like, "Don't be like your mom, okay? Just don't be like your mom." And
like
I would,
don't be like your mom with a negative
but he never but he never finished the sentence, right? He never said, "Don't be like your mom. She does blah blah blah, and you're doing da 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 da." Like there was no. It was just like this ominous looming threat, and like I knew Dad didn't care for Mom because we had that displayed every day. So I'm like, okay, he sees in me what he doesn't like about Mom, and somehow I'm being Mom by being excited about something. So it was so confusing. Like it didn't fuck me up at all. And,
No.
it was totally fine. I could process that at a young age. But then if I did accomplish something that was worthy, he would say, okay, but you got to do better. You got to work harder.
Yep.
Right. So that was what I heard from mom. I was trying to like think about that. Like, I don't remember any guidance from her at all, as far as like career, school, um, anything. Do you?
No.
Okay. So that's what I was talking about in imposter syndrome. It's like, what do you do if you're just like blindly in this space of like, emotional fire bombs let off, but you don't know like what you don't know you don't know what is expected of you. The only thing I
Yeah.
can come up with is that like maybe everybody wanted us to be like a doctor or a lawyer, but like no reason why.
Well, okay, but yes, and so when you first started talking about the expectations, the what popped into my head was or the lack thereof. Like like I don't know what the expectation is. I just know that I should be working hard towards something, but nothing is actually exciting because I don't know what I want to do and I don't know like what the end goal would look like. Like I know what I could do. I know what the path of least resistance is here, right? Is just to do what everyone else has done. But as far as the expectation, and even if you're thinking about college, right? And when you're trying to pick a major, I don't think I had any idea what I was gonna do. And so I just picked a business major. If someone had said, like, hey, Amanda, if you don't know what to do, just go in finance and then maybe at least you can be bored with stacks of cash, right?
Sure.
Um, but not even that, honestly. So yeah, it's yeah, expectations,
Yeah,
lack
but
thereof.
our parents didn't know either, right?
For
Like,
sure.
even
Right.
though both of our parents are college graduates and like business owners, they didn't know beyond what they didn't know, which is totally normal, right?
Right.
But they were also two people who weren't also constantly seeking to grow and learn in their life. Like, they weren't seeking information, right? Like, they weren't like, oh, our kid's going to college, like we should probably like reach out to some people we know that might be able to help them, like, you know what I mean? That
Yeah. Or
just
at least like, hey, like here are some of the options of things you can do. Or
yeah,
if the expectation is that you should be a doctor or a lawyer, which is absolutely true because I still remember the conversations about that when I was like very young, maybe like 10 or something, and then I had even like less of an idea. Um, Imagine at 10, I could have literally been anything. And maybe that's the problem. They're like, you can be anything, but be a doctor or a lawyer. But all I'm saying is that maybe someone could have pushed me to then take more biology courses or to
yes.
get interested in medicine or to see what lawyers do, the different types of law, what school might best accommodate that goal. I don't know.
All thoughts, all
All
thoughts,
thoughts, all
all thoughts.
thoughts.
Like, and it's
Yeah.
not even like, you know, this is probably one of the few areas when we are going to be speaking about our parents and how they raised us that like I don't have I'm not super upset with them about this because I can conceptually understand like just kind of being ignorant in this space and not knowing what to do for your kids, right? Like it's
Well,
egregious and it ties into other things, of course, but
I think it's like, from their perspective, step one, like get the degree, go to college, right?
mhm,
Um, I think that um, what looked good for them was kind of the path that they were marching towards. Um, and that's kind of where it ended for them, right? So they got us to have, okay, we added college to the baseline for family, right? Like,
yeah,
okay. Um, and now it's kind of like up to us to be like, okay, now for your kids, like, is there a direct, like, you actually have that ability to steer them in a direction at this time so that there can be a more meaningful learning experience in those years, in those
yes,
formative years, truly.
yes. And so now, right, as parents ourselves, right, and your kid is little, he's like gonna be 4.
He's gonna be 4, which makes me just think, how fucking old I'm gonna be when he goes.
Yeah, but face cards
Ooh.
will still be sharp, Amanda.
Yes, well,
Um,
that's the plan.
that's the plan. But now that we're in that space and like, my kids are in 7th and 8th grade now, I only have a handful of years before like we're thinking about things like this. And, I'm my ex is much more old school, right? He like just
Mhm.
missed the boomer cutoff, honestly. And so for him, like it's like the most important thing is to go to college and yada yada
Mhm.
yada. And I was talking to one of my kids the other day, and school just started, so they have like great, super great attitudes about it. And he said something to me like, "Oh, well, I'm not as smart as you," or something like that. And I was like, "Why would you say that?"
Why
He
would
says,
you say
"Well,
that?
yeah." He's like, "Well, I mean, I'm not great at math." And I was like, "What?" Because also, just like side note, both of my kids are actually really good at math. Like I am, like whatever. They're really good at math. They like do nerd things like math club. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Oh
those.
my God, trust me. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think
Yeah, I
about that
know.
often.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, why? Like, this is an interesting thing you're saying to me. He's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't be able to get into Harvard. And I was like, well, why not? Like,
Why
you
not?
could, you can do any of those things like that if you
What?
wanted
Like it's
to, but
hard?
what? Like, it's hard? Hold my fluffy purse. So, we were having this conversation and I realized like, oh, this is my moment to actually not have a toxic moment with my child, right? Because
Right.
look, this is the first time I'm saying this. At the end of the day,
Mhm. Nice work.
when I think about my kids and what I want from them has absolutely nothing to do with what they decide to do with like college and degrees and how they make a living. Like that doesn't feel like my business, right?
No.
What I want is for you not to be horrible, disrespectful people. I'd like you to flush the toilet, right? I'd like you to be happy. I'd like you to
Yeah.
find what makes you happy so that you
Exactly.
don't spend 20 years of your life in therapy unpacking and trying to figure out who you are. Like I
Yeah.
ask people so many times, what do you want? What do you like? And that
Right.
no one ever asks anybody that, to the point where you can be 60 years old, no one's ever asked you. And when I ask you, you start crying because you're like,
Right.
oh my God, I don't, I've lived my whole life never asking myself what I want and what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what I said to him, like he's like what, 12, 11, 12. I said, being smart isn't about doing well on tests, because that's the other thing he says. He's like, I'm not great on the standardized tests. And I said, who cares? I was like, babe, I don't literally give a shit about how you perform on a standardized test. I said, being
Right.
smart is not about getting good grades. Being smart means that if you feel like learning something, you have the ability to learn it.
Yes.
Right.
And to have the
So,
curiosity to
yes,
want to learn, to know
yes,
that there's information for you. And
yes,
then that's like one stepping stone into
yes.
the other parts of your life. Yeah.
And, ABL, always be learning, always be
Always be
learning.
learning.
Always be learning. Like never ever think that there's like you are have reached the top of anything. You should always
No.
be going, and but the point is like we as a society like really push the idea of got to get good grades, got to get into a good college.
Mhm.
We do not push the idea of what's going to make you happy and like fulfilled in your life. Like it's like
Yeah.
that's just a byproduct of following the rules, and it's clearly not based off of the amount of people that are on SSRIs and in major therapy, right? Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
this system promoted happiness, we wouldn't need so many drugs to get through the day,
Mm. True. It's true.
and even
Yeah.
the whole like ADHD thing, right? As like time has gone on, because 10 years ago, ADHD and ADD, like that diagnosis was very different and treated very different than it is today. Now, 90% of the people that come in test on the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to me because when you look at somebody who believes they have ADHD or who like has been confirmed to have that, it's being smart is actually a prerequisite for it. Like
Mhm.
you are so intelligent that you can see through the bullshit of this system, and you don't want to play this game. So now you're asking yourself, what medication can I take that will make me more of a machine so I can actually like do my tasks like a good little machine? And I'm over
Right.
here like, well, why would you want to do that? Right? As long as you can actually do the things that you want to do, right? Like, isn't
Yep.
that like if you're able to do things that you want to do, then is there a problem, right?
Right.
there's not a medication out there that's going to motivate you to want to do a begrudging job from 9 to 5. Like, that's
Right.
silly. That's
I
silly.
think it's also 18 is arguably kind of young to be like, okay, now you have to, pick your pick your path, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's
18-year
often
olds are the
why
worst, truly.
it's true. And I remember when I was going to college and there were a couple of people who took like a gap year. Their parents just let them go and do whatever they wanted because you don't have that opportunity to like literally ever do that again. Think about it. You're
Mm-hmm.
18, you go to college, you got a couple summers, and then you graduate, and then you're working, and then it's like all this pressure to like climb the ladder, find your partner, get
Ugh.
married, like do all
Ugh.
these things, have children. Like, is 30 too young? Is 30 too old? How old are you going to be? Keep doing that math. So yeah, it's kind of like a rat race, I guess, but it is kind of young to decide what you want to do and have to make that decision. To our point, you do need guidance, and there are people who can guide you.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, ABL, baby.
Yeah. ABL. And I do have examples of, like, a handful of examples of kids I know who have basically parents like my age, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I could technically have an 18 or a 17, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in that age.
Sure.
So their parents are of my generation, our generation. And I'm thinking of one in particular that every time I speak to her mom or talk to her about her parents and just like all of those things, I'm like, wow, like this is how it could be if your parents also went to therapy and also had their own lives and didn't project all their bullshit onto you as a person, right? Like, this is
Yeah.
this is a person who um at like 13, 14, 15 was like, I think that I'm gay, and their parents like were like, okay,
Yeah.
we love that for you. Like,
Yeah.
way to find
How can we
out.
support?
Yeah, how
Yeah.
can we support? And have her in therapy, because this is a good place for her to have a relationship with another adult that she can like just tell things to, right? But
Right.
I find out, as we work together, that her mom is kind of her best friend. Like, she tells her mom everything. She feels
Yeah.
comfortable telling her mom everything because her mom doesn't react in a way that prohibits that, right?
Yeah.
And talking about setting you up for a career, this is the kid who's like has been obsessed with like Grey's Anatomy and like something, and
Yeah. Yeah.
like, this is what I want to do. I want to work
Yeah.
in the medical field. So her parents are like, okay, then these are the classes you really should probably focus on so that you can like really be like at the top here and ready. And
Mm-hmm.
even your first year of med school is going to feel easy because you would have already been doing anatomy for so long that you
Yeah.
won't be freaking out your first year of college away from home. They're thinking about all of these things for
Yes.
her and
Yes.
workshopping them with her. And I'm just like, oh, and like sometimes I will just like send her mom an email and just like, I just want you to know you're doing so great.
You're
Like,
doing a great job,
yes,
sweetie.
like
Like
you're just
that's
primo.
amazing.
Yes. And
That's
so
amazing.
yes. So
I
there is a
would
reason
be
we do this work, you know?
Yes. I would be interested to know how many people who are listening, what side of the story do they relate to? Like, do you relate to the the part where you weren't sure what the expectation was? Or are you saying, wait a minute, no, like that's how my parents were? Like, I would just be curious to see like how that maybe we should drop a poll on
Yeah.
this Spotify episode.
We'll put a poll on it. So the question is, did your parents set clear expectations? Did they set nebulous expectations? Right. And also, the thing we didn't talk about because we don't have this experience, but like, what about the people whose parents had very specific expectations that they were basically like, if you don't follow these, like, you can't be in this family?
We forgot the other end of the spectrum. We did,
Yes.
because the part that we're talking about, like with your client, is like the middle road, and then there's past that. There's like, holy crap, like if you don't do that, and then now all of a sudden you wake up one day and realize that you've created a life that you hate
Mm-hmm.
because you have felt like this is the life that you want, and it's not, and it's just
Yeah.
an expectation that has been projected onto you that,
Mm-hmm.
you get caught up and the years go by.
Yeah. Well, we have one comment here that says, growing up, no expectations for me, no discussions whatsoever. And then, but for me as a parent, my 3 children are graduates. Even a doctor's degree got them all they needed. Even a doctor's degree got them all that they needed and all the support. And proud of myself. Yeah, proud of you
Yes,
too.
we're proud of you
And
too.
and what is your generation? Like, what age group would you put yourself in? I'm not going to say your name because it'll be on the podcast, but I'm talking to you.
we need a quick response. We're live, baby. Just kidding.
She
um,
says my kids come to me. I gave them confidence. I don't judge. Ugh.
chef's kiss,
Chef's
baby.
kiss. Mwah to you. Yeah, but I
There's
don't know.
also an aspect of uh, you should always be working hard, and then
Yeah.
the guilt of relaxing or enjoying yourself or doing something outside of like work, and work should
Mm-hmm.
be hard and work should be tough.
Mm-hmm.
There's that whole mindset that I always struggled with, because I think there's a generational difference in working smarter, not harder. Like, I want to be more efficient with my time. I don't think that a measure of success is just banging away at something all hours of the night, right? My
Right.
measure of success is not that I have worked 16-hour days. It's that, like, I've gotten my work done in the time that I had, right? And that
Right.
I also set down boundaries so that, you know, I can spend time with my family as well, which is difficult.
Well, the other part of that is I think that, especially I know in our house, right, there I always felt that appearing to be busy was really important,
Yeah,
right? It doesn't
right.
matter like if you ever got anything done necessarily, because
Mhm.
it's like you always have to be busy. Like, and this our culture is that way. It's like it's busy culture. It's like, oh, I'm so busy. Oh, I'm so busy. I'm
Well,
so busy.
even before COVID, it was being at the office all the time. And I remember sitting at the office when I was working at the family business, like right after college. And yeah, I was young. I wanted to like F off. But there were times when it's like, we aren't really doing anything. We don't have a lot of work. There's 2 hours left in the day. Like, how about we all just get out of here? It's a beautiful day. And it was like, no, why would we do that? And I'm like, because we're humans and we need to feel the sun on our face. We need a
Yeah,
cocktail by the water.
girl,
We don't live by the water for no reason.
we did grow up so close to water, and I never saw water as a child.
I told you I used to get picked up on the camp days that we would go to the beach in the afternoon.
Like, were we not allowed to go to the water? What's that about?
I don't know, but I finally broke through that fear of going to the beach.
Yeah.
And being like, I can actually pack a bag and get a little tent and I can go hang out there. I want to say the year was like 2018.
What is that?
I don't know.
What
I
the
don't
flip is
know.
that?
There was a restriction in my head. I was like, we can't really. I mean, you and I did go to the beach like when we were no, as adults. When we
Oh,
did that day that we got our tattoos where we played hooky, talking about working for
that
the
was like
family business
one
and not wanting
time.
to. I know, but isn't that sad? I remember that time. I very remember we had like Mike's Hard Lemonade. We were like sneaking them on the beach. We were like, we're so bad. Like, I don't know
Oh
what's
my
allowed here. Are you Oh, that's so sad. Uh,
Oh
anyhow,
my God. You know what that reminds me of? This is a total like, why are you saying this? But whenever I think of the beach, okay, Sarah Watson says hi, Amanda.
hi.
She can't see your comment because she's on
I
a different
can't.
platform, but I'm just letting you know Sarah's
Thank
here.
you.
And so is Jody. Um, so that beach, right, Cove in Stamford, the
Yeah.
only thing that like pops into my mind is that if you go there, you're gonna end up on the front page of the newspaper, and dad's gonna be like, you're gonna be in trouble with dad, because remember that.
Yes.
Growing up, our parents had a business, right, their own business, and my dad was like, that's all he
They
did.
still
Like,
have it, by the way.
they
It's
still
still
have it,
there.
by the way. And he like really like ruled the roost with an iron fist over there. Like, no fun, no fraternizing. Like, we're not doing any of that, right? And there were these 2 employees, um, who will go unnamed, who struck up a romance. And I remember thinking, like, wow, it must have been such an illicit affair, but it wasn't. They were both single, actually. So like
Well,
it wasn't
because
like they were having an affair. It was just an
the rule
affair,
was
like
no workplace romance because we didn't
no
want any
workplace.
drama.
Right, because only our father could create that. So anyway, so they apparently went to the beach one evening to like have a lovely time and look at the sunset, and a photographer for like the Advocate saw them and like took a beautiful, it was actually so romantic and beautiful, this picture that he took of them, and it ended up like on the front page of the
And it was like,
Stanford Advocate.
love is in the air.
Yes, love is in the air, and they
That
got in trouble.
can you imagine actually, like, if I saw that, I mean, now we're constantly being outed by someone taking a picture of something. Look at the Coldplay concert, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
they're like, you can't hide. But I think that given the times when it was like, that must have been like early 90s, like you legit had to just be in the wrong place at the like, you think you're like away, you're like, ha ha ha, we're not at work, we're just holding hands.
Like, oh,
Oh,
young love, but like,
I love how
what
you're
a
like, we won't say their names. Like, I can remember their names
oh, okay. I can, because I feel like it made a
because you're
huge
crazy.
impression.
Yeah.
But I'm like 4 years older than you, so as I
Yes.
keep like literally saying all the time.
Literally. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Uh,
So, but yes, yes, that is what the beach reminds me of. But and also we did go to beaches, but they were always in Florida. We always went to like, no, we actually
I
did a
don't
different.
remember ever going to the beach when we were in Florida.
We weren't allowed to go to the beach in Florida
I
either.
don't even think we were on the shore in
No, we
Florida.
were in landlocked Tampa, the landlocked part of Tampa. What is up with that? Because
But no,
I
listen,
love the beach.
but hey, 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 you can't compare what we did in Florida and be like, that was sad because we were literally at Busch Gardens like four
And
times
Disney
a
World.
week.
We did go to Disney World a lot.
Yeah, like we were doing things. We weren't
We
like
weren't
at
like
the
locked in
beach.
a house and like, tortured or anything.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, we weren't. The hidden chapter. We haven't
I was
even
like, were
gotten
we?
to the point where we were locked in a house in Tampa. We haven't even told y'all about that. Whew, we're gonna need to do a longer episode, honestly.
Like a double feature. It'll be like a little bit true crime.
Yeah, and a little bit fiction.
I mean, what is life but fiction sometimes, right?
Stranger than, if anything.
But yeah, yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say that Jody said hi too?
She's here.
Oh,
Or
hi
she was
Jody.
here. She was here. Oh, and also I'm gonna let you know that the listener who was telling us about how
Oh,
she was very supportive of her kids and didn't put those restrictions on them and supported them. So she's 55, so that would make her what, a Gen X?
yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so just to kind of get to like close that loop of context, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
That makes
curious.
sense to me.
Yeah, I'm curious to know about that too, and I think as a general like thing that we do as people, right? As soon as you have a moment of reflection upon thyself, right? You tend to not want to perpetuate old patterns with your loved ones, right? Like
Yeah.
if you have that reflection that like, okay, the way that my parents did things really didn't work well for me and didn't affect me in a great way, and I can actually look back and see how it affected me, it's really
Yeah.
difficult to then do the same thing to your kids because you're like, why would I do that?
Right. But I think the important part is not doing that, but then building upon it. Not saying just because I'm not physically abusing you doesn't mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
that's what I lived with, and because I'm not doing that to you, then your childhood must be amazing. That's not a fair thing to say, right? Because just because I'm not being physically abused doesn't mean that I don't need emotional support, emotional security, all the other things in the toolkit. It's a good
Yeah.
start, but it's the start, and you have to build upon that.
Yes, absolutely. And two things I want to mention that what you're saying brought up for me. There is this very widespread notion about trauma. You might hear it sometime as trauma with a big T and trauma with a little t. And I just want to say, as like a general blanket statement and like utter like fuck you to that concept, that's not true. Trauma is subjective, not objective. But we as a society make it objective to basically make you feel complacent with accepting abuse, right?
Yep.
Because you can say, well, my parents yell at me all the time, but at least they don't beat me like their parents do. So I should be grateful that I am not being beaten. You
Yep.
as a person have no concept of what that would feel like to live in a space where you're being physically harmed. So
Mhm.
that particular trauma is not relevant to you, right?
Right.
And you know, when I say that trauma is subjective, what I mean is an experience for one person can be incredibly traumatic. The same experience for another person could be something they don't even remember of again because it was not a big deal to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
We are very individual. So when you think to yourself like, "Oh, someone else has it worse than me," okay, but how do you know what that feels like in their body? Something you went through could honestly be equivalent in pain to something you think is a lot worse. You have
Right.
no idea. So stop doing that to yourself. Like
Right.
your experience is your experience. If it hurt you, it's valid and that's how it
Mhm.
feels for you, right?
Right.
Because it just really we have so many mechanisms to make ourselves smaller and less relevant to ourselves, right? And
Yeah.
to kind of minimize our experiences and one up each other. Like,
Yeah.
oh, mine was worse, mine was worse, mine
Ugh.
was worse. Like, we all are
Yeah.
traumatized. Like, we don't
Yes.
have to win. You don't want to win. Why are you trying to win this? Like,
Yes. You know, that reminds me of one of the worst things, and I always try not to say this when you're telling people how something feels, and they say, "But how do you think that makes me feel? How do you think I feel?"
I don't know how you feel because I'm
I
not
don't know how
you.
you I'm me, and I only have my context. I only have my filter right now, and I feel pain, and that's what I'm trying to communicate.
Yes, yes. And
Your
then,
actions made me feel pain, so now what?
yeah. And I want to run. How does that make you feel?
I'm in fight or flight.
You've triggered me and I don't want to be
Yeah.
here anymore.
Yes.
And then
Oh
the other
god.
thing before we kind of wrap up is
Yep.
that the same listener who is telling us that, you know, she was able to kind of break her parents' pattern and like be there for her kids is
Yep.
saying that, let me tell you, in the beginning, I did exactly like my parents did to me. And so I want to say that again. In the beginning, I did exactly like my parents did to me, which
Yep.
brings us to the other point. There is no too late.
Right.
There is no too late. We
No.
are hardwired as people to like, I don't know if it's good or bad, but we're kind of hardwired to want to be connected to our parents of origin, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And all we really need for the most part, unless you know what has happened is so severe that there's no way to deal with it, all we want for the most part is connection and a little bit of self-reflection, right? Like
Absolutely.
if our mother was like, hey, man, I really reflected on a few things and I'd like to talk about it, like, I apologize, I didn't know better then, or blah blah blah. We were like, okay, like
Yeah.
cool,
Let's
like
talk
we're
about
adults
it.
now, like let's talk about it, let's heal it, let's move forward now. Like there's always that, right?
Yeah.
It's your own ego that gets in the way and tells you
Absolutely.
what's going to happen before you have even asked the other person, right?
Yeah. Take a
Like,
second to think about what your role is in your own suffering.
yes, yeah,
One
take a
second.
second
Just think about it.
or 3 seconds. Like, just sit with it and own it and know that, like, that is how you then start healing relationships and
Yeah.
repairing. It's not, and to your point, Amanda, it's not about how do you think this makes me feel? That is the wrong question all the time. That is
The
an
time. Yep.
unhealed, childish question.
Yep.
The question is, how did it make you feel when I did XYZ? I need to
Yes.
understand that in order to repair this relationship.
Yes. And then what can I do to make you feel safe?
Yes.
Yeah.
What can I do? And do you even want to? We need to be honest with ourselves in all of these
Right.
things. Do you have the capability
Yes.
to do that? Like maybe you don't.
Exactly.
It,
Right.
it is, you know, it is what it is. But all of those things, damn.
All those things can be talked about in therapy.
Go to therapy.
I doubt that your therapist will be as cool as my sister.
Not a chance. Just kidding.
Um,
There's a
and
lot of
she's
cool
full
therapists.
booked up, team. So
maybe when I do my leap into private practice in a few years.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, listen,
Yeah.
we are heading into the long weekend, Labor Day weekend. Hopefully, we are blessing your ears as you're traveling to some place to say goodbye to the summer, or maybe you're already there and you are just, taking a moment to kick back, relax before you hit the grind next week, or as a
Yeah.
lot of us have this week with back to school. So yeah, have
Yeah,
a
maybe
really safe,
you've
yeah.
gotten some good deals on appliances.
Ooh, like
Now's the
someone.
time. Now's the time to buy that washer and dryer.
It really is. It is. Yeah.
Yes, now's the time because they always like are going to throw in the free delivery and stuff, right? So good. Anyway, yes, have a great weekend.
Safe
Thank you for
weekend.
being here and listening. And don't forget, something you can do for us would be to like, share, and repost things so that we can start to like become wild and famous.
Yeah. Or at least be able to go live independently on our account. That's probably
Oh, actually, that's our
one.
first goal. We really need to get a
We're gonna
few.
start with that.
Yeah.
We're never
Okay, fine.
limiting ourselves, but we're also giving ourselves some reasonable goals,
Fine. That makes
attainable.
sense. Let's kind of go with that. We need what? How many on the Instagram? 1,000?
So we need like nine
We need
hundred
900 more.
and seven more followers. 990. Anyhow, I'm not great at math either.
You know what to do. Just
Yeah.
just press the follow button. So follow us on Instagram. And of course you can listen to podcasts wherever you listen to those. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Mwah.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye.